Hello, and welcome to the Those Dweebs podcast, where we have a little bit of everything for everyone. Let's roll the d20 of fate and see what we are talking about today. Hello everyone on this beautiful October evening and also our 10th episode of the podcast. I honestly can't believe I'm hitting this milestone already, but here we are. We are also almost at 450 downloads, which we're almost to 500 downloads, so that's just wild to me. But I'm so excited. Few little fun things that we have going on. Whenever I post this, we're going to be having a little Paranormal 101 talk at one of the local libraries in our area. And that's going to be our first time actually talking and kind of getting people interested in the whole subject of the matter. And then the very next day we were having our investigation at the Vampire and Poorhouse with some special guests. What goes bump in the night. I'm so stoked. Gonna probably try to talk about that on the next podcast episode after this one, and kind of give you a little sneak peeks into what happened in our investigation that night. But yeah, so that's a couple super exciting things that we have going on. But without further ado, let's get into our subject for the night. So it's been such a long time coming of me wanting to talk about this place because it inspired one of my favorite video game franchises, as well as one of my favorite movie franchises, which is Silent Hill. Personally, I haven't played the games, but I think maybe I have played one at least, but it was a long time ago. But I mostly enjoy watching other people play it because I'm a big scaredy cat when it comes to scary video games, I'm not gonna lie, but I digress. The place that Silent Hill was inspired by is Centralia, Pennsylvania. So strap in as we take an adventure all the way there, and I give you the history and everything of why it was inspired by it. A century ago, Centralia, Pennsylvania was a busy small town filled with shops, residents, and a brisk mining business. Coal from local mines fueled its homes and its economy, and its 1,200 residents worked, played, and lived as tight-knit neighbors. Today couldn't be more different. Centralia's streets are abandoned. Most of its buildings are gone, and smoke wafts down graffiti-strewn highways where a prosperous town once stood. The formerly busy burg has turned into a ghost town. The cause was something that's still happening beneath Centralia's empty streets, a mine fire that's been burning for over 50 years, resulting in the devastation of a community and the eviction and impoverishment of many of its residents. Coal seam fires are nothing new, but Centralia's is the United States' worst and one of the history's most devastating. Before the 1962 fire, Centralia had been a mining center for over a century, home to a rich deposit of anthracite coal. The town was incorporated after mining began in the 1850s. Mining defined life in Centralia, from its rough and tumble residents to its seedier side. During the 1860s, the town was home to members of the Molly Maguires, a secret society that originated in Ireland and made its way to America coal mines along with Irish immigrants. In the late 1860s, the Molly Maguires are suspected to have committed a rash of violence within Centralia. As Pennsylvania historian Darrell B. Johnson notes, the Molly Maguires were implicated in everything from murder of the town's founder, Alexander Ray, to the death of the area's first priest. Some believe that the Mollys were guilty, while others claim that the Mollys were framed by owners of the mines who feared that the members of the Mollys and other organizations would organize the mine workers into unions, writes Johnson. Eventually, after a brutal attempt to subdue the Mollys and the execution of some of the group's suspected leaders in 1877, the crime wave ended. Centralia's dependence on mining didn't, though. In 1890, it was home to over 2,700 people, most of them miners or their family members. And even though the stock market crash and Great Depression struck a strong blow to the coal industry in Centralia, it didn't kill the town. It took a tragedy to do that, but it's not entirely clear how the tragedy began. It seems to have started with the Centralia landfill, words are hard, an abandoned mine pit that had been converted into a garbage dump in 1962. Trash was a thorny issue in Centralia, which was full of unregulated dumps, and the city council wanted to solve the problem with unwanted odors and rats. In May 1962, the city council proposed cleaning up the local landfill in time for Centralia's Memorial Day festivities. This might seem like irrelevant small-town history except for one thing, wrote David DeCock in Fire Underground, his history of the fire. Centralia's council's method for cleaning up a dump was to set it on fire. Though competing theories exist about how the fire was sparked, it's thought that the Centralia dump fire sparked a much larger mine fire beneath the town. Soon, a fire was raging in a coal seam beneath Centralia. It spread to mine tunnels beneath town streets, and the local mines closed due to unsafe carbon monoxide levels. Multiple attempts were made to excavate and put out the fire, but all of them failed. The reason, ironically, is the aftermath of the mining that defined Centralia for all those years. There are so many abandoned mine tunnels in the area that many of or all could be fueling the fire, and it would be prohibitively expensive and likely impossible to figure out which ones stoke the fire and to close off every single one of them. As the years went on, the underground beneath the city itself became hotter and hotter, reaching over 900 degrees Fahrenheit in some locations. Smoke poured from sinkholes and gas-filled basements. Residents started to report health problems and homes began to tilt. Even the dead cannot rest, wrote Greg Walter for People in 1981. Graves in the town's two cemeteries are believed to have dropped into the abyss of fire that rages below them. Earlier that year, a 12-year-old boy fell into a sudden sinkhole created by the fire, barely escaping death. By then, it was too late for Centralia. Rather than put out the fire, Congress decided to buy out its residents, paying them to move. Then, in 1922, Pennsylvania moved to kick the holdouts out for good. All of Centralia's buildings were condemned. Its zip code was eliminated. Seven residents remained via court order. They are forbidden from passing down their property or selling it. Today, Centralia still burns as one of 38 known active mining fires in Pennsylvania. According to the state's Department of Environmental Protection, the fire could burn for another century if left uncontrolled. Modern-day Centralia is known as much for its blaze and the graffiti that covers its abandoned highway, as for the mining that once sustained it. And forget extinguishing the fire that has turned the town from a small mining center to a place famous for its hidden blaze, as geologist Steve Jones told Smithsonian's Kevin Krajcik, putting it out is the impossible dream. So that is the entire history of Centralia, Pennsylvania. I'm sure there's more out there. I was getting this one from history.com. But yeah, I actually stumbled upon a YouTube video today of a couple explorers that actually went there, and they got to see the graffiti highway and like a couple of the cemeteries and like the church that still stands there. And it's so spooky and so interesting to me that like something like that still stands today, and like people like go and like explore it all the time, or at least, you know, from what I've been seeing of videos. But like just seeing in the cemetery, because like these people went during like the winter time and they were in the cemetery, and you could definitely tell that like around the headstones that there were just like there was no snow around them. Like it was around, it was just so hot that it doesn't like get snow on it. But yeah, definitely one of the more interesting like topics I've seen. Like Silent Hill was always one of my favorites, like as a teenager going into adulthood, and it still remains to be. So learning that there was a place that inspired it, like there's that part of me that's like, I kind of would like to go check it out at some point, but like do it so safely, because apparently like sinkholes do like randomly appear, like what almost happened to the 13-year-old. So like it'd be one of those where we'd have to be super duper safe. But yeah, that's a pipe dream, but I digress. Anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think. Have you ever heard of Centralia? Do you have any more information that you find interesting about it? Or tell me about some of your favorite ghost towns that are here in America or elsewhere in the world. I would love to hear about them. But that will be it for this week's episode. A little bit more of a shorter one, but getting ready for everything coming up this weekend, and I'm so excited to share it with you. So thank you so much for listening. We are on most of the places you can find your podcast except for iTunes. So be sure to check those out. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.